So, hi, we have
Hi,
Carolyn here from zooming in from,
Massachusetts in the US.
and I'm zooming in from Hurghada, Red Sea, Egypt. Very beautiful it is here every day. And I've asked Caroline to come and join me to tell me her experiences with StarMatrix. Because Caroline, you just finished doing that course of Sylvia's, haven't you? The online
Yes, I did.
version.
Yeah.
And so I'm keen to hear all about it, how it's gone for you, and why you like it, because I know that you're a fan.
Yeah. It was interesting because when I first started the journey, I was kind of not, I was busy and I was kind of not all in. And I was just kind of going through it quick in the beginning. Um, and then Zoe asked me how I was doing with it. And because she wasn't seeing me posting and things like that in the chat group. So I says, well, I'm going along. And then I said to myself, no, you need to start over, right? And really pay attention to what's going on here. So I did. And what an amazing journey. Like just, and what I find most amazing about the Star Matrix journey for me was that it has closed so many loops that I had left open, like the star event piece. Um, just it was just so fascinating to see that I was actually already living some of what I was being called into in the star matrix, if that makes sense, right? So it was so validating knowing that when I signed up for the journey and looking back as I was going through it, how really I was called to that journey to experience what I needed to experience in the star matrix and really coming out of the trauma loop, right? Really starting to shift the perspective of even in those trauma moments that we could sit in and revisit and revisit. And I love when Sylvia talks about that you can call up the trauma 1,000 times and your brain will give it right there, ready to give it to you, right?
Mhm.
But once you shift through Star Matrix and finding the star moment, right? And some people watching this might not understand what a star moment is.
I was going to ask
So
you
it's
to
basically,
explain that.
yeah,
Now,
yes.
yeah.
So it's basically like what was the blessing in the situation is the best I can describe it, right? There's always a blessing in every situation that we can, even if we feel it. And what was interesting is that Sylvia had said, and even if you're one of those people who say, oh, I don't have any star memories in my
Mm.
childhood, it was horrible. I was that person. And then when she said that, I went, okay, I need to really revisit this. I need to come out of the pattern of my thinking and try to find the star moments back then. And I was able to do that, right? I was able to go back to certain situations that I felt even patterns. I was able to go back to situations, people and or patterns, right? And revisit those places and find the star moment in it, right? And when you can find a star moment in what we'll say trauma event, just for sake of clarity, right?
Mhm.
In the trauma event, it shifts.
Mm.
Like it's almost has like this magical shift
Mhm.
that trauma no longer do you revisit as trauma. It's almost impossible to go back to see it as trauma once you find a star moment in it. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
I know. I found that
Mhm.
also. I have a particularly great memory from one of the courses I gave, and one of the participants, she was asking for, give me a star moment that I can, visit right now. And she was surprised her energy mind gave her what she recalled as a trauma. And the story was she was 4 years old. She's running out of the house where her parents are fighting. There's a little dog in the garden running after her, which she's terrified of the dog as well.
Mhm.
And she runs down to the gate, and
Mhm.
the gate had quite an intricate latch. And she managed to focus herself in her trauma and stress and running away and fear, she managed to focus herself to manipulate the lock and get out of the garden to safety. And so when we looked at what was the star moment, it was actually that moment of her focus and like an empowered moment in the whole story, where when we zoomed in on that moment of power, where a 4-year-old in stress managed to focus and have the dexterity and the resourcefulness to manage the lock and free herself from the running dog or whatever that was chasing behind her and get herself to safety. Even now I've got tingles as I'm remembering it, because when we opened it up, it was such an amazing power moment for her to realize that the wisdom that came to her was, oh my God, even at 4, I had it in me to save myself, even at 4. And so I've had that in me all my life. And that, oh, I've got all the like tingles of saying that. But that truth and shining revelation that she then embodied just totally shone its light into the whole memory and totally transformed the memory for her. So, and that's the kind of thing. Is that what you're an example like you've experienced?
Yes.
Like
Yeah, I've actually had one even with the dog scenario. It's funny you brought it up. But I'm going to touch just on that before I go on to that story, is that you were able to get her to see the memory in a different perspective and to again close the loop on that in a more positive, empowering light. And there's also that piece in the StarMatrix course that you awaken your star powers, right? So when she was able to see that little 4-year-old had the ability inside of her all along to save herself,
and
right?
focus and focus
to
and
focus,
dexterity and empowered state at 4. Wow, it's like hero energy.
So she could
at 4.
Yes, hero energy, right? So that's her superhero inside of her, right? That she probably has forgotten about or let lay dormant for a while. So that brings that. Oh, I'm getting chills bumps too, and star bumps, and the same. Like it awakening those parts of you that you're like, oh, I am that person. Like I do have this gift, or I do have this trait or characteristic of myself that is very empowering, right? I need to embody that. I'm going to embrace that and embody that and unleash it, right? And all that from going through the star moment,
even though it was a trauma, even if it was a trauma memory, within the trauma memory, there's a moment, a star moment of power.
Right.
And so that, I mean, I was amazed because that's the first time I saw the theory of this in practice working inside a trauma memory. And it really transformed her representation of that memory. And also her love for herself, her love for a child aspect, her relationship with herself and the youngster at that time. It was really amazing. And you want a star moment for me, as like a therapist, star moment to witness and to help to facilitate that as well. I mean, I haven't written that one in my book of stars, but I could, because I can feel it every time
you should add that in.
I talk about that. Just put that one in there.
Right.
Afterwards, after we finish. So you're going to say,
Yeah, so this was a good example because I'm not going to go over my experience with the dog. I'm going to go the after effects, right? So for me, it was the dog attack, being afraid of the dog. And in the StarMatrix journey in the course, there's also that piece of star events, things that need completion, right? And things that never came to completion, right? That still need to be visited. And so for me, the dog piece for me was I was so afraid of dogs that a couple of times in my children's young life, we tried to have a dog, right? And it just didn't work out. I didn't want the dog because subconsciously I was afraid of the dogs, right? And I always found there was a reason why I wasn't going to put the work in, and I just couldn't handle the dog, do the dog we had to give away, right? And interestingly enough, at this phase in my life, my daughter came home with the dog, a stray dog, when she
Mm.
moved back home from Arizona. So it gave me this dog showing up now. I mean, knowing what I know about the StarMatrix journey, I was more open to receive it,
Mm-hmm.
like the dog being here. And it's so interesting that it has closed that loop of my fear of dogs and brought so much joy and such a blessing and connection with the dog now. Like, I absolutely love this dog. You know, I'm with them all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
love taking them out. There's no fear of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting to see that come to fruition, because I found that on the star journey, there are a lot of things that came up. Like I said, I keep saying this because this is the biggest piece for me, is that it was that closing of loop. It was like following through events in my life that had no finishing, no
Mm-hmm.
completion, no
Mm-hmm.
no evolution. They were just stuck. So I like the word evolution, right?
Yeah.
So it's that
Yeah.
those old traumas, scenarios, whatever we want to call them, were able to come forward and be shifted and evolved
Yeah.
to a
Very
place that
nice.
brings like more happiness and more joy. And you say, all right, I'm not only not afraid of dogs, I'm really good with dogs. Like,
Mm.
I actually
Mm.
have a skill set to this dog, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
so it was just, again, then you find your superpower in that. So I find it all very fascinating.
Yeah. 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 And so you've just finished the course, and so obviously the course guides you through the concepts, invites you to explore
Hmm.
and have experiences
Hmm.
for your personal evolution and to learn the concepts and skills
Hmm.
of connecting with your own star matrix. And let's just say, for if there is anyone who's not so familiar, what do we mean by our star matrix? What is that? What have you come to understand as that for you, for your star matrix?
Well, for me, the star matrix is when Sylvia brought us back into basically timelines of star moments and how all these star moments come together. And you can see, it's almost like, I mean, when I see matrix, I see like a star map. So it's like this lineage behind us, this lineage in front of us, right? And there is it's it's like where you've been and where it's taking you, and it's almost like this matrix of like following the stars is how I experienced it. It was like mapping out these events in my life and seeing them. It's almost like you start off in this dark universe, is the best way I can describe it for me. And by the time you're through the course, you can see this brilliant sparkles and stars all around you, right?
Mm,
Because things have
mm.
shifted and evolved and have come into new experiences on it as well. So not only have you shifted the past experiences, but you have set up a pathway for new experiences. You look at things differently.
Yeah, I found that myself, and I've said this in a couple of the other interviews that I've done, is like when a new star moment is happening and you actually can recognize it as such,
Mhm.
that creates such a much more deeper appreciation of
Mhm.
the event that you're
Mhm.
experiencing, and with the gratitude and humility
Mhm.
and the learning about it, which you may not have given the same attention to before. So it gives a
No,
deeper
very differently.
appreciation of life
Mhm.
as it's happening. That's one of the things that I've found as a kind of an ongoing
Mhm.
benefit. And then the other thing that you were touching on there about describing this matrix of stars is that in every star moment, it's a high energy moment, even if it's only for a fraction of a little
Mhm.
moment in time and then it's gone. In that moment of high energy, we are in the closest alignment with our real self.
Yes.
And so
Mhm.
those moments reveal to
Mhm.
us who we really are. And so when you
Mhm.
collect up this series of star
Mhm.
moments of your life, the star events, and
Mhm.
we're collecting them, then collectively they kind of come together to reveal who you really are in much
Yes.
more, your self-concept evolves, the way you think of yourself. How I
Mhm.
remember one particular, well, a few times I was looking for star events in my past to do with healing,
Mhm.
and where I've done an amazing healing session for somebody.
Mhm.
And, when I zoomed in on those moments and activated that energy, brought it back, so I'm embodying it once again,
Mhm.
then I can distill what is the wisdom and the truth of that moment. I am a healer. I am the healer in the room. I am the healer in the family. I'm the healer in my, community.
Mhm.
The Not only the revelation, but the acceptance and the embodiment of that reality and truth, not just knowing it in your head, but knowing it in your whole being, is quite something. It's quite something
Yeah.
then to know that you own that you are that. And the journeys, like every star event or moment that we
Mhm.
have, has such wisdom and has such
Mhm.
truth of our true nature in it. And we can go through life beating ourselves up, thinking that we're hopeless when we're down in energy a
Over and
little bit,
over.
or things aren't going so well. We can be
Mhm.
judging ourselves.
Mhm.
And then by remembering a relevant, appropriate star memory,
Mhm.
not only we connect back to that energy which lifts us up, but it reminds us who
Mhm.
we are, who we really are. And we can step back into that alignment to kind of
Mhm.
go forwards from there as well. That's one of the other like little gems about
Yeah.
this whole star matrix concept. And I like that, what you just said. We've got this star matrix, which is, behind us, all the events that we've had making up the matrix, our energy body as it is now from all those star events. And we've got them all ahead. And we know that they're going to be there. We know that there's going to be
Right.
more star moments for us in our life, whatever it might be like at the moment. And that's it gives great hope, I think, as well, and something to let you look forward to.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah,
You said that so beautifully. You really
um,
explained that beautifully. And I've lived that in the journey.
yeah,
Like I really lived that. I feel very different after being connected in Star Matrix, and I will give credit to EMO as well. There was a combination; they work very well together,
yeah,
um, which is energy and motion. If anybody doesn't know,
yes, yeah.
um,
Yeah, I'll
but
just actually
yeah,
point out
yeah,
about that, because
yeah,
when we connect into the
yeah,
energy and the emotions come up,
yeah,
when you're telling a story of,
yeah,
a good memory that happened,
yeah,
all the emotions start to come up. You can feel them again in your body.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
and you might feel them in your heart and your upper body, for
Mhm.
instance. With emo, energy and motion, if we can have an awareness of that and let that energy flow through the whole body, so our whole body gets energized by
Mm,
it, and we really
yeah,
embody that energy. And the more energy that's flowing through us, the more information and we get
hmm,
about this, the more wisdom
right,
becomes available to us. The significance of this. So emo really helps when you're
yeah. I
tapping
have to
into your
agree.
star matrix
Mm,
to maximize the effects of it.
yes,
Really,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So
And I'll add
yeah,
on, if I can just add on one thing on the end, because I know we'll be wrapping up soon, is that I've also, through the whole journey, when you go through it, right, then you get to play with it a little bit, right? So I was asking for a request from work that I was was like, hey, you know what? I'm going for it because I'm different now from StarMatrix. I ask for what I want. I say my boundaries are better. My, my ability to use my voice has increased. It's been really cool. So that being said, I asked for what I wanted. But when I asked for it, I sent it off with a big sparkly star. I said, I'm sending this with some star energy,
Oh.
right?
Mhm.
I got a response within like 10 seconds. And the response was this: Carolyn, I can't believe you just sent me this. I was just in the midst of doing the remote schedule for the girls in the phone room. What day would you like? So it was that simple.
So,
So I went, right?
mm,
And you can
mm,
manifest star moment. You can manifest star moments, right?
yeah,
By being
yeah,
aligned to that energy, that
yeah,
star energy. When you ask, right? When you do the ask, you
yeah.
align to the energy.
Very
It may
cool.
not be guaranteed every time. I don't know, but I know I'm having fun playing with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's certainly something to test out, isn't it? To like
Yeah.
go forward.
Yeah.
So, Carolyn, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to hear your personal experiences and take on it and how it's affected you, the benefits for you,
Mhm.
and have your insights on Star Matrix. Anything that you would say to somebody watching this, like thinking, oh, should I, is it worth looking into? What should I do next? Anything that you'd
Oh,
encourage them?
I yeah, I will say, I encourage you to jump in. That in itself is a star moment. Um, what you will learn about yourself and how you will evolve and grow, I just don't have the words for it. It has just been amazing. I feel like I really feel different, and I always say anyway, knowledge is power. The more you know about yourself, the more empowered you are. And not only do you get the Star Matrix journey and get to learn so much about yourself, through it, you get a community of amazing people, like star people all around you, right?
Yeah,
I recommend highly jumping into the course, and you will not regret it. You will grow. Matter of fact, you're going to sign up for something else when you're done.
yeah.
But you will sign up for something else. You will be hungry for more.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
You're
Real
welcome.
pleasure. Lovely to see you again and look forward to working with you again along the way. Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you, Sandra. You know how much I love you.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome.